This is kind of an unscripted, unplanned explanation, or at least the best I can come up with. So I built this board myself, and it's been through many iterations. I started building it pretty much when VESC was just starting to pick up a bit. So the parts were, they were the unrefined stuff for the most part. And then eventually I started replacing them with more updated parts as I went. Originally I had a Little FOCer 3.0 in it, and this is a 3.1. Originally had it mounted to another casing, although that one broke, so I replaced it. Obviously it was not a good replacement, unfortunately. So the case is 3D printed. I bought it offline. I think it's made of the cheaper materials stuff. This one lasted a while. I think this is the second, maybe third. No, this is only the second one. Only the second casing I got for this. Unfortunately, at one point I think it did like crack down the middle here or separate the layers or something like that. So what I ended up doing is I think I put some coating on it. Oop, and that fell. This thing's been through so many iterations that I essentially gave up and was like, okay, I need an actual box, something that's not 3D printed junk. So I don't have the money for that, or didn't at least. So I just said, okay, I'm just gonna put this back together. I used literal RTV to seal it up as best I could, and I wrote it for a very long time like this. And one day a series of events happened that I ended up on this board, not in the rain, but on wet roads, damp roads I should say. So it was after a rain, and I thought it'll probably be fine. I get back home, there's a little bit of water pooled on it. I was like, I don't know. So I kind of just sat outside and let it sit for a while. And eventually when I took out the board again, I would start it and it would kind of jitter, but then it stopped eventually and it just rode normally without any problems. So like on startup, it would have a little jitter issue. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let it sit. I think water might have gotten in it somehow again. So I say again because the last board died to water as well, but not this catastrophically, obviously. At least I think it died of water. It's been so long. Anyway, so I let this sit for a long time. I intended to take it apart again, but I knew the next time I took it apart, this box was not going to survive. So I was kind of putting it off. Eventually, I needed to use the one wheel, and I grabbed this one because my Pint's tire is completely shredded. So I need a new tire for the Pint, but I grabbed this one, used it, and I was going slow because I didn't trust the board yet. I was going pretty slow. I was going probably well under 10 miles an hour, probably around 4 or 5 really. And I rode probably about half a mile, and then the board started vibrating, shaking. I wasn't sure if it was the haptic feedback or not, but I was hardly moving. It was vibrating, shaking. Okay, it was probably an error. So I get off the board, and about 2 seconds later, as I'm thinking about pulling out my phone to look at the app to see if there's an error code or something like that. 2 seconds later, there's a plume of black smoke coming out of the controller, and it only lasted a few seconds. And I heard a lot of zappy, zappy, zappy noises, like plasma noises. So it got a little hot. Yeah, these came off the board when I pulled it apart here. There's still some of the boards attached to this one. So yeah, thankfully it stopped doing the zappy zaps and the plume of smoke stopped. I'm guessing that's because it ate the pins, not the air there. They had the two main pins for power. There was 4 pins for power, but made through 2 of them. My guess is the water, if there was water, I don't know. It's bone dry in here now, obviously, but my guess is the water caused the problem with the circuit board, Little FOCer, and caused it to draw overcurrent and melt the wires, fried the board, caused a whole bunch of shorts going everywhere until it finally melted enough things to disconnect the battery. Even melted off the center wire for the motor. So yeah, that's the end of this board. So that's my guess. My guess is crappy 3D printed case, bad decisions, led to water getting inside of here and causing it to overcurrent. Everything else in here actually seems fine, believe it or not. Like these, all these connectors came off very easily. Obviously this is not fine. It's well burnt, so I went ahead and snipped this because I didn't trust it. I gotta test the battery. It's yeah, I gotta cut it off at this point, but the battery I think is fine. This one's sealed a little bit better, so although it's not a perfect seal either, because I'm not gonna get into that anyways. But yeah, it looks like it didn't burn. I don't trust the harness obviously now, because if it got hot enough to cause problems in here, it could have caused problems with the wires. So yeah, this is money I was not looking to spend right now, you know, so I'm thinking about going what's it called? I'm thinking about going with a Fungineer's controller setup instead of building my own. I'm kind of tired of throwing this together, spending time working on this, trying to make it right, and then because of one mistake or a crappy box, it explodes. Not really explode, you know, like burns itself out. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this out and test it, make sure it's actually still good, or I might just reconnect the charge line. Let's see if it charges. Probably not probably do that. But yeah, I don't think this is savable, guys. Bummer. The motor is a Fungineer's. I don't know. It was the first run of their Hyper Superflex. It's been so long since I looked at the names. I have not bothered to keep up with anything for the past year, probably. But it's the one with the old blocks and the harness that doesn't terminate over here. And it didn't come with a tire or a tire stem. Even I had to get my own tire stem. That leaks. But yeah, at least I still have good rails. I don't really trust the motor either. Unfortunately, it's had problems since day one. But since it was so hard to get, being the first run they had, I just kind of dealt with it. I think there's a magnet loose in it or something, because when it rolls a certain direction, it goes if I'm only in that direction. And I've had problems when I first started rolling around by hand, that it would catch on something. So I think either a magnet or something was loose in there and eventually wore itself in. But I don't trust the motor, to be honest. It's lasted a good long time, but I might just bite the bullet and buy another one eventually. I'll probably have to save up for it. Yeah, this was my fun slash daily ride. I literally ride one wheels to work and back every day, so I have a pint in this right now, and that's it. And the pint is pretty much stock, so yeah, I don't know. I prefer riding this because this could go faster. You know, it's a lot more stable. Well, it could have gone. It could. It once was faster. Now it's slower. Yeah, that's this. Yeah, so it's just cheap stuff here. I've had problems with these cases almost immediately because you gotta heat up these things and sink them in, and it's hard to get them like perfect in there, and then they don't stay in there and they get ripped out, or their inserts start spinning inside them and you can't get them out until you rip the thing out and use pliers vice grips to hold the bottom here and unscrew the screws, because those are both stuck in there right now because these little inserts are stuck. So yeah, let's see the rest of the board. I did have Platysense 2, I think, sensors on there, so bang bumpers, obviously a little fender over there. It was a nice setup. I enjoyed it. Very solid. Until it wasn't. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to do a Little FOCer again. I'm probably just going to do a Fungineer's thing and have it all in one already and not have to worry about all this stupid nonsense. Which means I do still have to deal with making a new harness for the battery, but this is not going to be easy to open. I did not plan on reopening this thing at all. Fun. Or maybe the battery's dead and I can just, I don't know. And these boxes are so expensive. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll just hold out until something else comes around or these parts get cheaper. If they ever do get cheaper. Float on, my friend. Don't char on.